How's it going? I know nobody's in here yet. However, we're gonna see how this goes. While I get my beverage. I'm gonna be on here for a while talking about Miami, which is why we are here today to discuss the season of The Real Housewives of Miami. It has been a lot, so there will be a lot to discuss. And if that's to pop in and chat it up and help me discuss the season, feel free to do so. Otherwise, I will be on here with my wine. That's what I'm drinking right now. Some good old Purple Toad wine. And I will be talking to myself about the season. Because either way, we're going to talk. But hello. And usually when we are on here, we how we like it. It is a community over here. So any new JBs that, have joined the fold, welcome. It's a vibe over here. So it's pretty much just, us just talking about certain topics, nothing major. We're just on here cutting up and, having a real calm, collected, and very much serious at times conversation about said topic. And today it is none other than The Real Housewives of Miami. This is season 5 that we will be discussing. So, yeah. Okay. This is what I'll do. See me. The live may be a little glitchy at some point or another, but I just turned my internet off, so maybe that will fare better. We'll see, JBs. For anybody that decides to hop in, make sure you like up this live. That helps me. That helps keep my name in the algorithm. You know how YouTube is. Let me not say too much though. Okay, so here in a few, I'm gonna go ahead and start discussing so much that has happened. I'm trying to figure out where to even begin. And I know when I was thinking about doing this live, I was trying to brainstorm where we started this season because it has been a lot. And pretty soon we'll be getting into the reunion. I don't know how many more episodes we have. But where we're at now is episode 15. I don't know, we have one more episode after this one, or maybe 2 more episodes before we get into the reunion, y'all, but it is much to talk about. So that's why we're here today. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start, and y'all know what the deal is. Anybody that chooses to pop in, feel free. Feel free to leave down in the comments questions, opinions, and then we'll just kind of just bounce off of those and, have a informal conversation like we do. But this season, we start off with, I believe it was Lisa and Larsa that had some little tiff because Larsa made a comment about, or Lisa actually had made a comment about Larsa moving into, I guess it's a condo. I believe she moved into a condo, and Lisa made a comment about where the condo was located and how many people frequent the particular area. She made some comment along the lines of hookers and people of that nature frequent in there, and Larsa took offense to it. So then she brought up the fact that Lisa and Lenny's mortgage hadn't been paid in some time. She read something about their mortgage, and then Lisa then took offense to that. And for the first 2 or 3 episodes, it was basically them two going at it. Mind you, they're supposed to be close. But my thing is this, JB's. I knew some stuff was going to hit the fan with them last season at the reunion because Larsa didn't like that Lisa wasn't saying a lot when Julia and Adriana were coming at her at the reunion. If y'all remember the reunion, those two were coming at her heavy. More so Adriana. And Larsa felt like Lisa should have had her back when, if y'all have not noticed, Lisa seems to be the neutral player in this group of women. And especially this season when she's going through all that she's going through. So being neutral seems to be the best bet for her. But Lord and behold, it's always something. Larsa didn't like that she really didn't defend her. So I knew from that they were going to kind of have some beef. Granted, this beef is not dragged out, but I do recall seeing that stuff about Lisa and Lenny's mortgage came back up from Larsa. So I think they may not be as tight as they were. I don't know. We'll have to see what the reunion brings. It could not even come up. Y'all know how some storylines tend to fall to the wayside. This might be one of those storylines that fell to the wayside because of all the other major storylines that popped up throughout the season, which we'll get into. So they were kind of going back and forth for, like I said, the first 2 or 3 episodes because the season started off with 4 episodes. It had like a 4 episode premiere for the season. And then each Thursday, newer episodes came out. So within our first 4 episodes, the first 2 or 3 revolved around Lisa and Larsa getting at it. Lisa is confronting Larsa here. She's making a scene. She's feeling some type of way. She's getting loud. She's getting very abrasive. She's getting all up in Larsa's face, talking about, you might not want to say this and that. We're supposed to be cool. What are you doing? How dare you? All that stuff. The ladies are trying to calm them down. More so Lisa. Eventually, they make up. And it's quite silly that it even dragged for as long as it did because it's really not that big of a deal. So what? Something about your mortgage is out there. If you very well know, according to Lisa, her and Lenny don't have a mortgage. They instead took out something which ultimately didn't require them to have a mortgage, but their home is paid. I don't really remember the semantics around it. I mean, it's been so long since this all came out, so I kind of don't recall, let alone I'm fresh off of just watching the newest episode. So you can imagine, JB's, that I'm more so focused on that than what happened earlier in the season. So it was something along those lines, but it was really silly. So I can imagine that eventually these two wouldn't keep going at it, especially since Lisa had more issues to handle. She had bigger fish to fry, especially when it comes to her and Lenny. So we got that. Larsa, of course, still is not seeing it at this point for Adriana and Julia. Her and Julia really don't see eye to eye, and I'm just gonna tell y'all this: they really don't see eye to eye for the entire season. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where they're civil, but it's nothing like the relationship that she has with Kiki, which, interesting enough, her and Kiki have gotten really close. And if I'm not mistaken, JB's, Kiki was introduced to the group by Gertie. So for me, it's weird seeing who I thought was a good friend to Kiki not really associate with her. They don't have that many scenes together. And y'all probably thinking, well, JB, sorry. Y'all probably thinking, well, JB, now all the people that introduced the newer ladies to the group are friends. Yes, I very well know that. I've seen that throughout many of the franchises. But for Gertie and Kiki, I did feel like there was a friendship there. So to not see them interact as much this season, it does make me question where they stand. But, as I said, Kiki and Larsa are ace boon coons. They're thick as thieves, and they seem to have more scenes together than Gertie and Kiki. So, you got that. Um, and it was actually Kiki that kind of, put the bug in Larsa's ear about what Lisa was saying. So, Lisa did kind of confront Kiki before she confronted Larsa because she knew she had had a conversation with Kiki prior, and now that Larsa knows what was said and it's kind of coming for her, yeah, Kiki, you have something to do with this. What did you tell her? And what's the reason behind what I think she said to her is the fakeness? Um, wouldn't necessarily say Kiki was being fake. She was just telling her friend Larsa what is up. I mean, obviously, her and Larsa are closer than you and her, Lisa. So, are we really surprised that she informed Larsa of what was said? I don't know. But these are just kind of some of our dynamics. Um, what else really has been presented at this point of the season, the early point of the season? I'm trying to tell y'all, it's been so long. And what I usually do is I don't really take many notes. I kind of just go off of memory when it comes to the episodes. Most of the time, I surprise myself about what has happened. And if I don't get everything, JB's, it is what it is because we really want to talk about what's presently going on within this dynamic and our newer episodes. So I'm really going to just briefly talk about what happened earlier in the season. It's more so highlights, and then we'll really get into the nitty gritty of what's currently happening while the show is still on. And then we'll just go from there. So I'm really drawing a blank when it comes to anything that has happened the first part of the season. I'm trying to think if there was any other beefs. Um, the one thing that really comes to mind is if we fast forward and Adriana's video shoot. And okay, so as I think about that, we can instead rewind a little bit. So when they go on their first trip, the trip that Lisa hosted, and unfortunately had to dip out early because by this point the whole Lenny situation happened. It goes without saying that Lenny is a piece of work. Lenny is not a good husband. Lenny is not a good partner, and Lenny sometimes shows, actually, oftentimes shows, he's not that good of a father because you randomly decide you want to divorce your wife, and next to that, you give your wife basically a timeline on how long she can stay in her home, mind you. And not just that, but the kids also need to leave with you because you want to move in your mistress, essentially, if we're going to be 100 with it. You want to move in your mistress. You want to almost act like Lisa is doing you no good. She's doing you more harm than good. And it's almost an inconvenience having her there, which is why you keep making such a big deal about her needing to get out. She has to go on this trip that she's hosting with all of this on her mind. She was trying to say face, but this is how you know these are her real friends because no one's real friend is going to let you walk around looking the way you're looking without inquiring what is going on. Especially when not that long ago you were fine. Not that long ago, you and Lenny were the happiest y'all have ever been. Sure, behind closed doors, we know it's more to it, and even on camera, we were beginning to see a glimpse into what's really going on, further leading to this divorce. However, she looked fine. And she still wants to host this trip. She's clearly all out of sorts. She doesn't know if her kids are in good care because Lenny has also barred his parents from even coming to the home. Why, nigga? For what? You care that much about starting over with this new woman of yours that you have to jeopardize even your family, even your children's lives? Like it's the selfishness for me. But we're not too shocked because Lenny has been showing us signs that he's not invested in this relationship anymore. He's checked out. Hell, he was checked out last season when they went to dinner together and Lisa's all in his face like, we still got the spark, right? Just almost groveling to him, begging for his attention and his time, asking, we still got the spark, right? You were already doing too much even asking him that. But he gives you the very just fake, very fast response of, oh yeah, spark's there. Yeah, sure. When all the while, we know he's been plotting and planning to exit this marriage. And many of us have to look at Lisa like, you really didn't know, sis? You didn't see the signs? Whether she has or not JBs, it still hurts to hear your partner of 15 to 20 years wanting to end things all of a sudden and move forward with someone else and essentially stepping on your toes, telling you you have so much time to get packed up, get out, and take the kids. So basically, you're telling her that she has to just be a single mom. It's just crazy, y'all. It's fucking crazy. But also during this trip, I think we start to see the breakdown and the friendships between Adriana, Julia, Alexia. At this point, it was just those three. And somehow Gertie gets caught up in the mix because later on, when we get to Adriana's video shoot for her Fire music video, Gertie is really giving Alexia the cold shoulder because she didn't like that Alexia. I think it had something to do with the way Gertie was looking. And even Marisol kind of bugged me during this because why are we so focused on what a person is looking like when you think that they're supposed to be given another facial expression based on the events? Not everybody is like that. And sometimes you have to not read too much into what someone is giving you, their body language and their facial expressions, because you really don't know why they're acting like that. It could be other things going on. So for them to use that against Gertie, it bothered me. I didn't really like that. And you can tell from a mile away, it's still this clash between the OGs and the newbies. Because even Larsa, being an OG herself, she felt the need to interject and speak her mind and speak her piece, especially when it came to Gertie, because she didn't necessarily like that Gertie was giving advice when she's still married. She hasn't gone through a divorce, let alone going through a divorce herself. So she didn't feel like Gertie had much room to speak when it comes to this. And I'm just like, why? Why can't she offer advice? Who has the right to bar someone from speaking their mind and giving still sound advice because they're not divorced? That makes no sense. I didn't know I had to personally be in that same situation to be honored the right to give still sound advice to someone that is going through that. I didn't know that needed to be the case. And I really can't stand people having that logic when it comes to life situations. It doesn't matter what stage of your life you're in. The truth in the pudding is, if you have the advice to still give that person, regardless if you're going through that personally, you should be allowed to do that. Plus, it comes down to this. I don't need to be told by anybody else what I can and can't say to somebody, given the fact that I've not gone through that. And I'm very much sure, Larsa, that if you weren't even going through a divorce or had a divorce that you've gone through, you would still sit up there and give Lisa advice because what? She's your friend. She should be able to listen to you. It just is not making sense up here, Larsa, and I didn't see it for her during that point. Like, can we not keep coming for Gertie over the smallest stuff? And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I guarantee it had something to do with that because today, Gertie doesn't see it for Larsa. Gertie basically, when asked the question, she was like in this interview setup. It was her and Russell. They were somewhere. I don't know where exactly. But when the question was posed to her about where she stands with certain individuals, especially after the filming of the reunion, she basically called out Larsa for being the fakest housewife. Because, after recalling the events of what took place throughout the season and the reunion, she's had a change of heart on how she feels about Larsa, which is respectable. She was asked a question. I would imagine she would answer very honestly. And sometimes it does take you recalling and recounting the events for you to realize, oh, yeah, I do take issue with that. What the fuck is wrong with that? So, yeah, I'm sure it had a whole lot to do with the simple comment Larsa made about Gertie not, feeling like she can offer Lisa all this advice. Why can't she? What's the real reason, Larsa? Because you're an OG and she's a newbie? The dichotomy here does not mesh, and I don't like it. And I cannot stand that about these OG housewives because they feel like what they have to offer and what they have to say should always trump what a newer housewife or even a new friend of the show has to say and offer. And that shouldn't be the case because we're all on the same show. We're all filming together. Why does your opinion matter more to me because you have more tenure than I do? It makes no fucking sense. And it's very high schoolish. It's very much, I'm part of the mean girl clique, the popular girl clique, and you're at the loser table, so bow down to me. Fuck that. Fuck all of that. Not around these parts. I just don't tolerate that, JBs. But I know I kind of have been jumping around, but collectively, that all took place next to Lisa and Lenny's situation when they went. It was the Keys. That's where they went earlier this season. And that ultimately led into Gertie and Alexia getting into it. Alexia, God, she is the chief, the chief woman of the Mean Girl clique. Her and Marisol. And it bothers me actually that Marisol is getting such this bad rep, more so because of how stuck up Alexia's ass she is. So by me saying that, it's not to excuse her and like I'm shocked that she's getting such a bad rep. No, it's warranted because how her and Alexia act. Her and Alexia act like their shit don't stink. Even Larsa is up there with them. And we'll get more into Larsa, Miss Big Booty Judy herself. God, fake booty and all. We'll get on to her again a little bit later. But Gertie and Alexia get into it. It was rather confusing to me what was going on between them during Adriana's video shoot, but they ultimately decide to squash it. But like, God, I knew they were coming. Anytime I'm on camera, I always burp. And I know it's because of all the talking, and then when I'm consuming alcohol or any substance, it's only a matter of time before the belches come. But what was I saying? Child, I lost my train of thought. I know it was about Alexia and Gertie. They end up making amends. I don't really know what else I was saying next to that. They make amends, and I guess we move forward. It was confusing what was going on between them. I expected a little more kickback or pushback, I should say, from Gertie. But I think the thing with Gertie is she's learning this group of women, she's learning. And if she comes back next season, which I have no doubt that she will, she is definitely going to be giving it to these women, with Larsa being first on her list. So, yeah. Whatever else I was gonna say, because I'm like literally drawing a blank. I know there was something else, but I cannot think about it right now. Regardless, JBs, it will come to me. We're gonna move forward. And once it comes to me, I'll talk about it. But it was something related to Gertie and Alexia. And that was over the dumbest shit. If anything, it proved how hateful Alexia is. And you know what? I'll talk about Alexia for a little bit. Why Alexia is the type where. Sorry, I have something in my eye. Alexia is the type where she feels like all eyes need to be on her, and if they're not, there's an issue. And she thinks that she's this queen bee, and with that, no one can come for her. No one can have anything else going on, especially if she has anything going on. And it just is just a fucking clusterfuck of just bullshit when this all compiles. Um, so if I learned anything between her and Gertie, that situation is she didn't like that Gertie had all this other stuff going on when she felt like Gertie should have stopped everything and been there for her during her wedding. Bitch, you literally eloped and then had the ceremony after the fact. So what were you expecting Gertie to do? If anything, Gertie, you know, pulled all these stops for you to be happy, because you low key were being very much back and forth on what you wanted to do. So you had Gertie pull all these stops for you to eventually decide to elope and then have a smaller ceremony. And then I guess shortly after that, you had the bigger ceremony, which was the opposite of what Gertie wanted to do. I don't know. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure all that Gertie had set up for you, you didn't even do. You didn't even consider it. But you want to bring up, oh, so what? You are in magazines as the top wedding planner and all that. And she is. And it sounds like to me, bitch, you're jealous. You wish you could do that. What do you have going on, Alexia? Let's be all the way fucking real. What does Alexia have going on? I'll wait. By the way, if y'all hear anybody in the background, just ignore them. Um, what comes with being in this conference room, which is where I'm at, is sounds of people that are around. So, excuse me for anybody else talking in the background. I apologize for that, but as long as y'all can hear me and focus on me, we're good. Um, if I have to relocate somewhere else in the area, I will if it will mitigate the background noise, but for the time being, just ignore what else is going on in the background. Hopefully, it won't last too much longer, but I can't say that for certain. But anywho, back to Miami. So yeah, Alexia apparently doesn't have anything going on like Gertie. So I don't know why Alexia feels like she's that girl when she's really not. But we'll move on along because I could even go into Alexia, who has since proven that she's very unlikable. She has a bad tendency of acting like she doesn't do anything. She's not wrong about anything. She's literally the head of the pack. She is a mean girl. And that is further proven as the season goes. So we'll move from her. We'll talk about her again because there are other dynamics that involve her. But for the time being, we will focus on. Let's focus on Nicole. Nicole. Good old Dr. Nicole Martin. Congratulations, for one, to her and Anthony for being engaged. I'm not sure if they've had their wedding yet, but pretty soon they will be having their wedding because they probably have a wedding date for this year. I haven't heard anything about their wedding, but they are engaged. We very much see that pre wedding bliss that they're in. They later on have an engagement party, which there was some shit that went on there. And this not only includes Alexia, but it also includes Larsa. But before we get there, let's just talk about Nicole. And I'm more so doing this, JB's, because for those out there that feel like she doesn't have anything going on, I pose y'all this question. How? Just how does she not have things going on? How does she not have anything going for her? And y'all see I'm getting into this beef between her and Larsa, who just all of a sudden feels like Nicole is fake. Nicole apparently doesn't have anything going for her. She is known to sleep with anybody in her practice. And I don't mean that as her actual practice, I mean it as like her job, what she does. I guess Larsa was trying to imply that that's where she gets this status from, like how she got where she's at because she's slept her way to the top. Do you have receipts? How do you know this, Larsa? As someone who has a very much checkered past when it comes to sleeping around, how do you know this? Is this projecting? Because I mean, I'm confusion. Can't even get my words out all the way. I'm that confused. Enlighten us, ma'am, on how Nicole has managed to get where she's at if it took her sleeping her way to the top. I seem to recall that she is a very successful woman who has the education to back it up. She has the credentials to back it up. Sorry, she is very young and very pretty, yet very much established. What's wrong with that? It's this teardown that we like to do on these shows when we see another successful woman make it. A young, ethnic, and very educated, successful woman make it, might I add. And Larsa, you aren't a horrible looking woman. Sure, some of your work may be a little questionable, but Larsa is a very attractive woman at the end of the day. I can't knock her, especially when it comes to that. She's still very attractive. And I'm not gonna knock her over what she does to make her money. Do it, sis. Please. You're hurting nobody. That's not what bothers me. What bothers me is she wants to tear down another woman who has had to fight to make it out here. She wants to tear her down to what? Uplift herself? Does that help you sleep at night, Larsa? By you saying what you said to her? And then to talk about how fake Nicole is? Why is she fake? How is she fake? If anybody's fake here, it's you. Hence me going back to Gertie, calling Larsa the fakest housewife. But it's so funny because the little gift that Nicole sent Larsa, and Gertie was over there, you know, giving her a mirror for her to look at herself. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fakest housewife of them all? You. So reflect on that. Seems like a serve to me. So if Nicole is still fake for all of that, then I guess she's fake. But she'll never be faker than you, Larsa. So make it make sense. What is your issue? Because you see another woman that so happens to be a little more successful than you, and she might be a little more younger than you, and a little more prettier than you, but none of that really matters. The fact of the matter is, you're tearing another woman down who has had to fight, most likely tooth and nail, to get where she's at. You don't understand how that is detrimental to her career. You even putting out those allegations, whether they're true or not. People these days run with the first things they hear, so that it's still likely to, tarnish her name. Sis, you're fucked up for doing that. And for what? For what? Because she said something about she didn't trust you to come to her house when she was still getting to know you last season? Like, bitch, please. You can miss me with all of that. And I hate when these women go off of those very petty reasons for why they then want to come for somebody and tarnish their name. You're that mad? Oh, honey, it was that easy to get under your skin for somebody to act like nothing bothers them. It was that fucking easy. All I had to tell you was, oh, I don't know if I want to invite you to my house because I don't yet know you yet. And I don't really trust you yet. I'm getting to know you. That's all it took. And that rattled your feathers. Do better, sis. You've been in the industry too long to let small things like that rattle your feathers. From a newbie housewife, you OGs act like y'all are above the newbies. Y'all are up here and the newbies are down here. It was that easy still to rattle your feathers? Oh, seems like newbie behavior to me. I don't know, JBs. But that's been their little beef, and I'm not sure if it's still ongoing because they do end up making up. um, but it just doesn't make much sense to me why it had to result the way that it did. But I don't know. I really don't know. I will say that Nicole definitely had a very iconic moment when she dropped that good old black card in that attorney's lap when it came down to Alexia making such a big deal about the questions she was asking, like it is really affecting his time, and his time is money, and oh, I'm paying for this, so you're gonna ask him more appropriate questions. Nicole looked at her and was like, oh, it comes down to that? Sis, say less. You need me to pay for it? Because I will, but at the end of the day, I'm going to ask what questions I feel like I need to ask. I felt like it was a serve. Some people could beg to differ, but that's their opinion. This is J to the BTV. So I'm going to give my opinion. And I felt like that was a serve. That was an iconic moment. How often do we see this across the other franchises? How long has it been, might I add? I'll actually pose that. How long has it been since we've seen something like that? We want to see luxury, opulence, rich bitch energy. That was rich bitch energy. Oh, say less, sis. I can pay for this. it's nothing to me. But I like that Nicole then argued the notion, were you more so mad at what I was saying or the fact that I dropped a black card in his lap? Which one is it, sis? But again, these are the OGs doing the most to fucking signal that they're up here and the newbies are down here. Oh, okay. Okay. Again, whatever helps you sleep at night. Whatever helps you bitches sleep at night. Because y'all aren't fooling anybody at this point. I don't get it. But hey, if it's always gonna be this way, then I'm gonna always be on here to tell y'all, like, y'all are doing the most. And for what? Y'all are giving these people more energy than y'all need to. It's not that serious. But Nicole and Alexia later have a conversation, and it was almost like Alexia was not going to back down until she had Nicole apologize about what happened, which she went about that very wrong. Like, you decided to have an event with you, Marisol, Nicole, and Gertie and their husbands, y'all's husbands, I should say. And instead of just waiting to have the conversation with Nicole personally, you decide to bring up how bothered you was about what she did during that session, I should say. I don't even know what we can really call it when the lawyers were there. Which was more so to get more insight for Lisa, given what she's going through. But of course, it turned into something else. So going to the dinner with y'all's husbands, you decide to confront Nicole about all that instead of talking to her one on one. And then you're almost expecting, when you do have your one on one with Nicole, she's supposed to come to you and apologize? When you went about that all wrong, Alexia, it's just the borderline delusion for me. We're just going to be so delusional over our own actions and just think that it's the other person being in the wrong and how they came at you wrong. Therefore, you're expecting an apology. It just doesn't make any sense to me, JBs. But that's what happened. So at this point, we are getting into our newer episodes. So the ladies decide to head to the Bahamas. This is their second cast trip. They went to the Bahamas. Very luxurious, very fun. So we expect. Lisa even came. Lisa did have to leave early because she needs to be there for the kids. Obviously, we just don't want to have a situation where she doesn't have access to her kids, or her kids don't have access to her. Her kids are just sent off because Lenny sure as hell doesn't give a fuck. This is why I said, like, he's not even really much of a good father, because if you have to sit up here and put it on the woman to provide for y'all's children and find a place for you, her in this case, and y'all's children, it's just fucked up. It's very fucked up. But I don't expect any less from the likes of a fucking Lenny Hodgson. What do we expect? He's a ain't shit ass nigga. Hello? where where is the fucking where's the breakdown in that? Like, the proof is in the pudding. He's been showing this. So sometimes you do question, well, Lisa, did you know this? I feel bad for her. I really do. And I love to see her gradual glow up because sis is out here living. I think she done found her a new boyfriend. She's living it up with him. Sis has been posting pictures. She looks flawless. She just looks like she's doing the damn thing. So at the end of the day, she's winning. You know, you never win when you're playing dirty. Didn't Nene say that? If we want to use housewife references here, did the good old Lanithia Leaks not say that? Because you don't. And one thing about karma is she'll come to bite. So I would imagine Lenny is suffering more than we see. And we don't necessarily have to see his suffering. We know it's happening because you don't win for playing dirty. You don't win any cool points for doing this to your wife. Yes, she's still his wife because I don't think the divorce is final. But you don't get off on doing this to somebody. Eventually it will come to you and bite extremely hard. So Lenny, I hope you're fucking ready. And that's all I got to say about him. I don't think I want to talk anything or any more about him. We're done. So, like I said, Lisa came and went when it came to this trip. Just like she's been doing that for some of the cast events. Uh, she still shows up to give her support, and then she goes and takes care of the business that she has to take care of because sis can't be out here just, you know, fumbling. She can't. And I very much get that. Like, it's hard enough. So, I mean, I definitely got to step up and be there for my kids and do what I need to do to garner us this life that is comfortable. Sure, it may not be as comfortable as it once was, but that comes with the territory. It's just unfortunate, but she's doing what she needs to do to move forward. Um, Despite how hard it is, I can only imagine. But sis is, she's doing what she needs to do, so that's good. Now, this trip was supposed to be fun because we're coming into it knowing that Julia and Kiki had birthdays to celebrate. Their birthdays did still get celebrated, but the dynamic of the group is just not where it needs to be. Um, it more so results from Adriana taking issue with Alexia and Marisol. She just feels like they have not been as good of friends to her that she's been to them. And while I get that, JB's, Adriana, whatever, still does not go about it the most appropriate way. She's one of those people where she says the first thing that comes to her mind and then realizes it was very asshole-ish and then all of a sudden wants to garner all this sympathy and think that people are just supposed to just forgive and forget. Sure, I can forgive you, but I'm not gonna forget. And I 100% agree with that sentiment. It doesn't matter how much forgiving it seems like I give. One thing about me, y'all, one thing about J to the B is he's not going to forget. No, that does not mean that I'm holding grudges. It just simply means that I'm no fool, and first time you do something like that, shame on me. That second time, if you even get that far, shame on you. And best believe, when it gets to that, oh yeah, you're gonna know you fucked up. But I don't have to say anything to you. It's just gonna be almost just an instant reminder of what you did. Because you're not gonna be able to ever be in the same space as me. It just is what it is. You're just not. I'm not even gonna allow you to be that close. And that usually forms after the first time you did what you did. But Adriana has a bad tendency of feeling like she's going to garner all the sympathy. Sure, you may have gotten it from Julia, you may have gotten it from Nicole, and you may have gotten it from Gertie and Lisa. But you're not getting it from the other bitches. Now, her problem was more so with Alexia than the other ones, but birds of a feather flock together, so I would imagine the likes of Marisol and Larsa weren't going to be far behind. I mean, they just needed a reason. Larsa needed a reason because she really can't stand Adriana, and that's coming from their dynamic from last season, which was very much understandable. I did understand where Larsa was coming from, but now I'm just looking at Larsa like, you're a follower. Marisol, you're an even bigger follower because what personal issue do you really have with Adriana? I did not like that Adriana brought up Marisol's ex and kind of threw that in her face like she did something wrong. That was in poor taste. But other than that, what does Marisol have to go off of? Maybe we just don't know because Marisol's a friend, but Marisol's around enough to where we could have still gotten enough context. So I'm just left in the dark there. I don't really know. It doesn't change the fact that Homegirl, who I did really enjoy, she was actually one of my faves, is now looking like a damn follower. That's Marisol for me. It's unfortunate. But we move. So what it comes down to is Adriana made a very, very, very distasteful comment about Alexia's son, Frankie. We all know by now that Frankie has suffered from a horrible, life altering car accident that has left him basically dependable on his mother. He can't really do a lot for himself. Sure, he can walk around, he can eat, he can talk. Talking, though, is very much slurred and sometimes, what's the word I'm trying to use? Inaudible, if that makes sense, y'all. It's just a lot that comes with Frankie now. Frankie suffered a lot of brain damage. And Frankie is lucky to be alive. That is not by his doing. No one wakes up one day and thinks, oh, I'm going to get in a car accident. So let me do what I need to do to prepare. No one gets up and thinks about that, JBs. So that's all the more reason why Adriana's analogy, so she calls it, her analogy made no sense. It holds no weight. That is a very, very bad comparison. You are never going to be able to compare your sore fucking foot from your friend's son suffering a life-altering event such as what Frankie has endured and is still enduring, because he's still dealing with the repercussions of that. That man, because regardless of his mental age, because yes, his mental age makes him look like he's still a child, but at the end of the day, sorry y'all, Frankie is a grown man. He's just a grown man that is very much dependent on his mother, which is to be expected given his life-altering, mental wounds. This life-altering event that has shaped him to be the person he is today, which the silver lining out of all of it is he is slowly trying to gain his independence back. He is slowly working to a point where Alexia does not have to do as much for him, but it is still a slow process. So going back to Adriana, that fucking comment you made to Alexia, as much as I don't like Alexia, was foul. And again, you chose this moment to just say whatever the fuck was on your mind without fully thinking about what was on your mind. Adriana has a very much bad tendency of doing that. And if she does not rectify that, if she does not get over that, deal with that within herself, she's not going to have anybody in her life. And it does sometimes make me wonder if maybe this is the reason her son is not even around. She keeps bringing up the fact that he's in college. Sure, he may be in college. I'm not knocking you for that, sis. But why is he never around? When you were a housewife, he was around. Granted, he wasn't in college then, but he was around. There has to be more to it. Maybe I'm reaching with that one. Maybe I'm looking too deep into that, JBs. But the bottom line is Adriana is fucked up for using an analogy such as this to, as she said, gain some empathy from Alexia. You're never going to gain empathy from somebody when you use a tragic, very traumatizing event that they've experienced and are still experiencing it. You don't really understand the heartache this is causing this woman who almost lost her son. And you're going to use this as an example to garner some empathy because you feel like the women aren't there for you because your foot is sore. I was trying to say something else, y'all. I really was, but I'm glad the Lord stopped me. He was like, nope, don't even do it. And I'm glad he did because I don't have time. Like, Adriana, yeah, you know you was fucked up for that. And you don't win any prize for that. What were you really thinking before you said that? And you're going to sit up there and talk about let your anger out. Yeah, she should be able to let her anger out at this point. And again, I don't see it for Alexia. 9 times out of 10, I'm not even on Alexia's side like that. especially the way this season was played out. But bitch, you tried it. And it's stuff like this that makes it hard to even like you. Where I wanted to be on Adriana's side, you quickly made me go against that. Because how dare you, bitch? Who the fuck are you? How do you ever feel like that's okay? And your rebuttal is, in my act of trying to garner empathy from Alexia, I brought up something traumatizing that relates to her. Her almost losing her son. And accidents happen. These are just the repercussions and the consequences for actions. You are almost wording it like Frankie chose to get in a car and chose to, like, he had so much control over what was going to happen that day. He chose it. Mm. And then she's later questioning the reason why Alexia, of all people, didn't show up at her video release party. I mean, sure, it sucks. You want your friends there. But are you really shocked, bitch? Are you really that shocked? Mm. It's that sense of delusion that tends to happen on these shows. I don't know. I know a lot has been discussed, and we are a little more over an hour at this point, but I really don't think it is much else. Lisa meets up with good old Leah Black. You know, Leah Black is a blast from the past. She was an original Miami housewife. I'm interested to see if she'll make any more guest appearances, let alone get her mojito back. I don't think that's the idea. And about past housewives, if I had to choose who I would want to come back, I would choose Anna Quizno or Quizzones, or however you pronounce her last name. I probably just butchered the hell out of it. But anytime I see her name, I think her last name is pronounced Quiznones for whatever reason, which I don't think that's the case, JBs. I really don't think that is how you pronounce that woman's last name. But good old Anna, or Anna. I think for the longest I was calling her Anna, but I think it's actually pronounced Anna. She was on, season 2. Yeah, season 2. So she is one of the Miami Housewife season wonders. Just recently, I know she had an interview where she was talking about Alexia and I believe Marisol. She was talking about them very much negatively and how they are and how it's all for fame and they just live to be seen and they're just really not that good of people. Hey, you better say it with your chest. It made me a little more interested to see her back in the fold. So we had to choose from any of the past housewives that are no longer on the show. I would choose her, and then of course I always have a soft spot for Joanna, which I don't feel like Joanna has any interest in coming back to Miami. I don't even think she's living in Miami anymore. I think she's since been remarried and has moved out of Miami. It's just not her thing anymore. But I don't know. We'll just have to see how things play out. Time will tell. I mean, these women have a tendency, many of them, might I add, have a tendency of making it seem like they have no interest. And that ship is apparently sailed when it comes to rejoining the franchise. But these are also the same women that find their way back into the fold. So there's that. But I know I was originally talking about Leah. She meets up with Lisa, and this was something I did want to talk about on this live because I was really thinking about it when I watched the newest episode, episode 15, JB's. I loved the advice she gave Lisa. It was just what anybody would want to hear. She did not judge Lisa whatsoever. I didn't feel like she was coming from a judgmental place. She let Lisa emote the way she felt like she needed to emote. Granted, we're only seeing a chopped and screwed version of probably the full conversation that the both of them had because there's only so much time we're given for these episodes. Clearly, we're not going to see the whole conversation amongst the many conversations that happen during the scenes and, you know, after. But I just felt like she gave such strong advice, and she, in so many words, was just telling Lisa to wise up and be there for your children. And I know when Lisa made the comment about her daughter, the only daughter she has right now, not going to be able to grow up in a home where she has both mommy and daddy, Leah looked at her and she was just like, regardless of that, that's where you step in and you be the perfect example of how she should be treated by someone. You don't give her an awful example of how her father is treating her. You wise up, you step up even further and show this little girl how she needs to be, what she deserves, and just how to ultimately cope with what's going on. Lisa's fortunate that her children are still young and have time, let alone room, to grow from this. Her daughter, especially. Her daughter is still young enough to where she may not even remember all of these details. Granted, children know. I think for her daughter, especially, she's more so just going through the motions. She feels a shift. She feels like her routine is not the same. Her routine has been broken, but Lisa, establish different routines now, early. That way, it's not so noticeable later that, oh, daddy's not around. Sure, she will have to learn that daddy won't be around, but I would only hope that that wouldn't prevent her from still maintaining a relationship with Lenny. It's in moments like this that I hope Lenny is being more of a father to them than he's letting on because so far the optics are not there. If he wants those optics to be in his corner where he's still the role model and daddy for his children, I can't necessarily say that. But again, maybe we're just not seeing all of that. We don't have to see all of that. We don't need to be exposed to everything going on in our lives. We see enough as it is. So I'm good with that. But when it comes to her children, that little girl has more of a chance. So I feel like Lisa should just focus more on that. Her son, he's a little bit older. I'm sure he's able to recognize something's up. Because even when Lenny was having a conversation with his best friend, this is when all of everything was coming out. And he had that whole little mic session. It was like his own version of a hot mic moment. Oh, what what a hot mic moment it was. So when he was, being questioned on, hey, do you think he hears talking about his son? him and Lisa's son. When he was questioned about that, he was just like, "Oh no, he can't hear us. He's into the game." You may not think he hears, but again, it's a situation where the children know, and him being the older child, he not just knows, but he sees it and he feels it. And you best believe his routine is broken. Because I think even later on, Lisa had brought up him asking, "Hey, why isn't daddy doing this? Why isn't daddy around? What's going on between you and daddy?" Asking Lisa this. So you already can suspect he's going to have a harder time. Yes, there may be a little resentment. He may even have some resentment towards Lisa. That tends to happen with children that, you know, suffer from having parents to go through a divorce. Their parents. It's just what comes with the territory. We hope, just as outsiders looking in, and supporters of Lisa being successful and being able to get past it, get past this, we hope that it doesn't come down to that where even her children resent her. But that's the price that is paid sometimes. It's unfortunate, but we can only hope that things won't be that bad. So I'm really in Lisa's corner when it comes to this. Um, she's doing what she can, but that was more the takeaway I got from her conversation with Leah. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at, JB's. So I have literally spent probably about an hour and 18 minutes, going on 19 minutes after the hour, talking about Miami. At this point, y'all know what to do. Y'all know that y'all can always watch the playback of this. Leave your nice, nasty comments down in that comment section below. Make sure you like up this video. Go ahead and subscribe to J to the B TV because at the end of the day, all of this helps me out. I like to stay in the good old YouTube algorithm, even though it likes to play many of us like a fucking fiddle. It is important that I still pop up in y'all's algorithm. So y'all do that. Make sure you have your notification bell turned on because when that happens, it informs you of any new content I upload whenever I decide to upload it. And yeah, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and get off of here. I think I've talked about all of the events when it comes to this season. Of course, if there's anything I missed, y'all let me know. Y'all will get down in that comment section if necessary. Some of y'all follow me on my other social media outlets. Y'all can let me know what you think. Yeah, we're gonna do that. But I'm your boy, J to the B, here on J to the B TV. I'll be doing this ish each and every week. Even when I'm not on here every week, I will still be doing something pertaining to my channel each and every week. So yeah. But yeah, you just make sure you come back. I'm actually forgetting my outro now. Let me reel it on back. I'm your boy, J to the B, here on J to the B TV. I'll be doing this ish each and every week. So make sure you come back for my realness, my shenanigans. And yours truly, moi. Duh.